I recently met a guy through work who is conventionally attractive, fit, and highly desired by practically everyone in our office. I initially expected him to be arrogant due to this, but he displays a lot of humility and signs of low self-esteem. It makes me wonder how men who seemingly have it all can still feel inadequate. Thank you all for your contributions. Not only did I receive amazing answers to my question, but also responses to many other questions I didn't even realize needed to be addressed. Thank you for being strong and helping to shape our society in the best way possible. You are all worthy of love and respect, from yourselves and each other, as well as from women. Men are the pillars of our communities, and you deserve respect for who you are. Each of you has a unique purpose and gift to offer this world. Thank you for bringing awareness to the challenges you face as men in the modern world. You have touched my heart, and I will strive to be a good woman to the important men in my life. Story 1. Using my experience from the past few years, a lack of success in their endeavors can cause men to feel inadequate. Men are judged more harshly for their careers and income, and being unable to get ahead is a significant source of stress. It does not help that men often feel uncomfortable opening up about their problems and may be shamed for it, frequently by their partners. Story 2. I believe that his potentially low self-esteem has caused him to feel the need to have it all. As for what can cause this, romantic heartbreak can definitely lead a person to question their worth and value. Story 3. Feelings of inadequacy are instilled in us from a young age. We can always be better, and some individuals make us feel less than human, even when we give our best effort. Furthermore, this kind of treatment by a partner is often normalized in our society, making it difficult for others to recognize or question it. Additionally, we must consider that someone can be shy, insecure, or introverted on their own. Story 4. I recently met a guy through work who is conventionally attractive, fit, and highly desirable to practically everyone in our office. In what way is he desired? Do people explicitly tell him? Most attractive men rarely receive compliments about their looks, except from women they are already in a relationship with, which can be perceived as biased. As a result, they often have no real understanding of how good-looking or desired they truly are. Story 5. We are a reflection of how the people around us treat us. If he is well-adjusted and not a narcissist who inflates his ego, feedback in today's insular society is largely non-existent, apart from negative comments. If you're in the corporate environment and primarily focused on competition, you may not have many friends to spend time with in real life, which means your life can feel like a sum of the problems others have with you. This can take a toll. Story 6. The people who don't like you can't stop talking about it, while the people who do like you are often shy and nervous. I didn't realize I was good-looking until someone finally told me. He could just be nervous, but it makes me wonder how men who seem to have it all can still feel inadequate. I doubt he has it all. Everyone has different life experiences. Story 7. I am surprised that not many people are talking about the physical aspects as well. Men are just as surrounded by unrealistic beauty standards as women, but our struggles are often treated as background noise. A short story about Hugh Jackman comes to mind. How does he prepare for the shirtless scenes he is in? Well, up to a year in advance, he works tirelessly with a team of fitness and nutrition coaches. He constantly puts himself through pain in workout routines, and anyone who lifts can attest that the sport involves significant discomfort. On the day of filming, he severely dehydrates himself to keep his body fat percentage as low as possible. All of this is for the movie screens, only for women to comment, "Oh, that's the kind of physique I want in a man." This is the same story for every ripped man on screen, especially in Magic Mike. And don't get me started on testosterone. Story 8. We don't need men. They are not essential and are often viewed as the cause of many of the world's problems. It's time for men to step back and allow women to lead. We can produce sperm artificially, so we must tread carefully. I confronted a man who addressed me with, "Excuse me, ma'am. An average income of $100,000 a year is not a measure of worth. Your opinion is offensive." Story 9. People often criticize and undermine the confidence of others, especially if they believe someone can handle it. There are sadistic individuals and bullies everywhere. Moreover, Men may avoid inappropriate behavior in the workplace because it can lead to serious consequences for their careers and financial stability. Not everyone is a bad person just because some people or popular opinion label them as such. It is a misguided generalization to assume that strong men are inherently macho and toxic when, in fact, many are kind and self-controlled, contrasting with those who seek to tear others down for their own satisfaction. Story 10. Being dismissed when opening up in a way that adheres to societal standards can be frustrating. Men often feel that their problems are considered secondary and of lower priority compared to women's issues. Additionally, there is a tendency to over-explain our feelings, leading to a sense that our concerns do not matter to others. Furthermore, being portrayed as the worst kind of person in various forms of media can contribute to feelings of incompetence. Story 11. From my experience as a 30-year-old man, pretty much every man I know struggles with self-hatred, including me. Even the happiest men I know, who have the most fulfilling lives, cannot resist putting themselves down over the smallest things. I am not sure if it's a societal issue or something our fathers instilled in us, but it is real, and it is sad. I remember telling my coworker that I hated myself, and she was astonished. She could not believe it. She thought I had everything going for me. My life is pretty good, but every time I make a mistake, I cannot help but blame myself and think I deserve it. We do not want to be this way. It just sort of happens, and it is hard to change how we view ourselves. There is so much going on in life that makes us feel inadequate. We could always be stronger, but not excessively muscular. We could be more masculine, but not in a toxic way. We could be vulnerable, but not appear weak. We could be intelligent, but not condescending. We could be the provider, but not let work consume our lives. We could ask women out on dates, but not come across as creepy. We could be funny, but not annoying. The list goes on. Story 12. Society has criticized men for being themselves and engaging in traditional male activities. It is easy and safe to exist in a workplace with soft, unimposing edges, which is what some men are doing. Story 13. Many attractive men I know struggle to take full advantage of the attention they receive due to the rejection they experienced in their formative years. For example, if you are a smart, inquisitive person whose interests in fashion go against social norms in middle or high school, and puberty is transforming you into a depressed, overweight kid before the growth spurts hit, other kids may treat you poorly. The longer a kid is a late bloomer, the more difficult it becomes. You start to condition yourself to assume that women are not romantically interested in you as a default mindset, and this feeling often follows you into adulthood. While it may motivate you to improve your physique, fitness, career, and personal development, it feels similar to body dysmorphia. That feeling may never truly go away. Story 14:1. Growing up feeling fundamentally flawed occurs when a child perceives that their loved ones fail to meet their needs or recognize the importance of those needs. They often overcompensate by not opening up, believing that being flawless will lead to love. This can manifest in behaviors such as covert contracts, cheating, pathological lying, indirect communication, and, most importantly, low self-esteem. Feeling that their romantic efforts are not good enough is common. While rejection and hardships are essential for romantic growth, there is a thin line between that and feeling constantly reminded that their best efforts fall short. The men who find themselves in this situation do not give up because they do not want to improve. Rather, they struggle with the fact that no one is perfect in their approach or communication. If they are not in environments where they can meet women who accept them fully and can grow together, this leads to low self-esteem. The lack of accomplishments is significant. Accomplishments and recognition play a crucial role in building self-esteem, which is not developed in isolation. Story 15. Let's assume that he is not insecure about his appearance. Do you think life is only about being physically attractive? Attractive individuals can experience insecurities. Being physically attractive does not mean having it all. Story 16. It seems he has made efforts to improve himself by taking care of his body through exercise and remaining humble. Life may not have been easy for him, or perhaps he had to work hard for many things like many others. Story 17. For me, it's the sheer lack of attention from women, my preferred partner. It's not their fault at all. The society we live in is challenging, and being guarded is a good thing. But also, I'm a romantic. I love being sweet and kind of cheesy. It makes navigating anything hard when romance seems quite literally dead. So, I suppose it's touch starvation. It makes me feel unwanted. Story 18. A significant part of this is the work environment. Working with women can often be tedious. If you so much as look at them the wrong way, they may engage in office politics and try to turn others against you. Almost anything we do can be perceived as harmful behavior. Even rejecting a woman's advances can lead to serious consequences. It doesn't matter if we are in the right, we may still face repercussions. We are discussing careers here, which support us and keep us from being homeless. Therefore, there are certainly moments when you must second-guess everything you say, as you are only a few wrong words away from a meeting with human resources. Story 19. Lack of experience and success with women can result in low self-esteem. If, from a young age, such as 18, a man is unable to interact with many women, he may eventually develop an inferiority complex. As time passes, he may form a negative self-image that leaves him feeling inadequate regardless of any external circumstances. Story 20. For me, it was like the old saying, comparison is the thief of joy. There will always be someone better looking than you. Similarly, there is always someone less attractive than you. Story 21. He was often bullied by women or other men, and experiences of bullying in childhood, mental or physical abuse can all contribute to low self-esteem. Additionally, many individuals who have experienced trauma may develop obsessive-compulsive disorder or post-traumatic stress disorder. Story 22. I believe men need to achieve goals and overcome challenges to build confidence. Several women have told me that I am good-looking, but this does not boost my confidence because I am not at the stage I desire to be in life. Story 23. Being considered the root of all evil, being stuck in a meaningless corporate job that does more harm than good and does not pay enough in an increasingly inflated economy makes it harder to raise a family or buy a house. Additionally, we are supposedly on the verge of a global war and currently facing the ongoing sixth mass extinction. Story 24. Childhood plays a significant role in the development of self-esteem. Perhaps he became conventionally attractive a bit later in life. Additionally, the office may not have the colleagues he considers peers. Story 25. I will share my perspective. I am 6 feet 4 inches tall, fit, muscular, and consider myself attractive. I earn 120,000 euros a year, which is considerable for Germany. I am intelligent, working in a technology career while pursuing my degree. However, I lack meaningful friendships. My best friend took his life last December, and my ex-girlfriend broke my heart in January in a very careless manner. My mother has cancer, I have been nearly deaf for most of my life, and my social life is either a disaster or non-existent. I could be that person. You wouldn't know from his appearance, but he could be experiencing similar struggles. Story 26. The experience is similar for everyone. There is often a lack of understanding of one's worth, with a tendency to focus too much on the negative rather than the positive. Story 27. That is me, or at least I was a few years ago. I am 60 now. I have been told by several women that I look like Brad Pitt. I have had many girls approach me at bars and other places. I consider myself smart, though not at genius level, and I still have all my dark brown hair at 60. I love my cats and dog. However, I have trouble speaking to people. When I walk, I worry about what my hands are doing, which makes me feel socially awkward. This may be due to the fact that I do not have a large penis. It is not tiny, just average, but that may contribute to my feelings of insecurity. Story 28. There is always something a person does, is, or has that society thinks they should. The same applies to women. You could have a diploma, a mansion, and a high-profile job, but still lack what you believe you should have, such as a family, friends, hobbies, vacations, or partners. Your guy may just be laid back and not think he is above everyone else because he has succeeded. Story 29. Not being in control of finances is significant for me. If I have debts, unpaid bills, or am behind on taxes, I don't feel good about myself. Story 30. Women. specifically how we are treated by women. I am 6 feet 4 inches tall, weighing 240 pounds, with a bit of a belly that I am working on. I have a degree in information security and I am great with kids. I am the oldest of over 20 cousins, most of whom are more than 10 years younger than I am, so I can change a diaper and entertain a child like nobody's business. It took me until about 8 to 9 years ago to start acting like I am a prize. Women used to walk all over me. Now I am married, and even my wife says that my exes regret letting me go and that women, both younger and older, find me attractive. I still have trouble with this sometimes. Story 31. If you saw the way women treat me as a 5 feet 3 inches man, I do not know how you would not feel low self-esteem. Have you ever experienced an adult woman laugh at you and run away to her friends to talk about the audacity of a man like me asking them out? It feels like I am staining their reputation if it is not a 6-foot-tall, blue-eyed man in finance asking them out. Story 32. Beaten down by his parents, both literally and verbally, and awkward throughout adolescence, he only started to look good in recent years, but his self-esteem had been affected long before. It's no different than millionaires who grew up on welfare with little to eat, now holding on to every penny because they can't forget how things used to be. Story 33. Having no friends, lacking a relationship with a woman, watching everyone else succeed in advancing their careers while you are doing the same job for the last 15 years, not being able to handle home improvement projects successfully, lacking the ability to socialize. Story 34. Because some of those attributes also make you a target while growing up. I was the blonde, blue-eyed, tall, prototypical boy next door who was also a bit of an introvert and a good student. Growing up in what was then a blue-collar town, I got picked on a lot. I found out much later as an adult that most of the girls liked me, but I didn't notice and had many guys pick on me without understanding why. I didn't start to gain confidence until college when I encountered an entirely different group, and the old expectations were wiped clean. My wife helped pull me out of the worst parts of self-doubt, and 5 years in the workforce at a smaller company helped me stand out, significantly boosting my confidence. I've been in leadership roles for 30 years now and have no trouble speaking in front of groups, but it was a slow evolution I couldn't have imagined when I was younger. Story 35. Many times, it is the man in the family who is expected to handle the burden of providing for finances, and the pressure never stops. The constant pressure drives men to low self-esteem. We feel like a cog in the wheel. We do not want a medal. We seek recognition, love, and a break. Story 36. There is a guy I met recently through work who is conventionally attractive, fit, and highly desired by practically everyone in our office. Honestly, I expected him to be arrogant because of this. Story 37. The fact that I am told I am a terrible person every time I turn on the television or go online really doesn't help. The level of sexism and cruelty directed at men today is horrifying. Every time someone says something about men, think the exact same thing about women and see how it sounds. It will shock you. Story 38. Honestly, I was expecting him to behave in a rude manner because of this. Maybe it's because people like you make assumptions about other men based solely on their appearance. It seems like you are the one being rude. Story 39. One root cause is that we ask ourselves, what is wrong with me? When we get ghosted or rejected with little to no explanation, or we can't even get past the talking stage, even though we may have everything going for us. I realized this recently when a friend of a friend asked, how is he still single? He has a house and a career. This bed alone would have done me in. They spent the weekend at my house while I was away on business. I didn't have an answer because I really don't know. I try my best to be a good and nice guy and not just a nice guy. Yet it's not enough. Story 40. He has likely matured significantly in his early adult life and may have had a challenging social life while growing up, often being picked last in gym class. Story 41. I feel that men are judged more harshly for their careers and success. Additionally, the shift to dating apps has exacerbated feelings of inadequacy. Story 42. You mentioned he is conventionally attractive. Perhaps he has grown tired of women who desire him for his looks rather than for who he is as a person. Story 43. Hi, you reminded me of someone I met before. Thank you for the post. That is something I have always wondered about for a while. Story 44. Why were you expecting him to be unpleasant? Do you think conventionally attractive women who receive a lot of attention from men are arrogant or have poor character? What indication has he given you that he has it all beyond his looks? Have you talked to him about his life, experiences, struggles, trauma, prior relationships, or why he believes and acts the way he does? Do you know if he even enjoys this attention or finds it anxiety-inducing? Assumptions aside, men are people. Life can be hard for anyone. Looks do not save men from that any more than they do for women. Self-esteem is multifaceted, and there is always more beneath the surface. Story 45. You look at him and see the things you like. Not everyone thinks that way. It's common for people to focus on the things they dislike, and trying to accommodate them doesn't work because they won't stop being miserable until they start paying attention to the things they enjoy. If he has dealt with many people like that, he may not expect others to appreciate the qualities you like in him. Story 46. My father started treating me poorly when I began puberty. Looking back, I think he viewed my approaching manhood as a threat to him. This was likely the start of my low self-esteem. A few months into my first marriage, my wife referred to me as ugly. It was almost 40 years ago, but I still believe it. Story 47. I believe many people here have identified the symptoms of the problem accurately, but the root cause, in my opinion, is a lack of purpose. Story 48. Social media. In the past, we compared ourselves to the other men in our immediate community. Nowadays, we are bombarded with wealthy, fit, beautiful, and successful individuals on social media platforms. Our brains haven't evolved for this level of exposure, which explains why many of us experience low self-esteem and feelings of inadequacy. Story 49. A simple analogy. Being a man is like working in sales. You are always pressured to do one more thing, make one more call, close one more deal. You can never do enough. Story 50. Lack of purpose or meaning towards society, whether from relationships, work, or general direction in life, can lead to feelings of stagnation. Many men feel stuck in their lives. Story 51. By not building confidence from testing your capabilities, I love martial arts, specifically Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Story 52. This society, the media, and education are instilling low self-esteem in individuals since it is a powerful tool for controlling people. Both men and women must engage in self-education with sufficient introspection and reflection to overcome this internally imposed low self-esteem and develop a strong inner framework to counteract these manipulations in the world. Story 53. Being romantically rejected by every woman I was interested in, along with being bullied and treated as less of a man because of those rejections, affected me significantly. Story 54. On paper, I may appear to be one of those individuals who has it all from the outside. My low self-esteem was cultivated in childhood due to various forms of abuse and emotionally immature teenage parents. Additionally, being an unusually intelligent and high-achieving child attracts a significant amount of negative attention alongside the positive. Many people, including adults, believe it is important to keep a child humble, or think that they need to limit a child's potential to prevent them from becoming conceited. This situation reminds me of videos where baby elephants are tied with a rope to a stake in the ground. This practice can severely damage the elephant's sense of power at a young age. Consequently, as a fully grown and powerful adult, it does not even attempt to escape, and a small rope around its leg is sufficient to restrain it. Story 55. When I was young, I experienced a lot of bullying. Now that I am older, bullying still occurs, but it is not about having a gay voice or not being tough enough. I am bullied for having low self-esteem. Story 56. People are taking advantage of you and not returning the love and kindness you give to the world. Story 57. It's similar to a situation where someone wonders how an attractive person could have low self-esteem. While looking good is beneficial, it is not the only factor that influences how one feels about themselves. Nor is it the most important. For all you know, the individual may have experienced abuse during childhood and feels inherently worthless. Having a good jawline does not resolve that. Story 58. My parents, mostly my mother, often influenced my perspective. When I built my first computer at the age of 12 with money I saved from delivering newspapers and buying parts at a swap meet, she dismissed it by saying, "The internet is just going to be a phase. You need to get outside and play sports." I attempted to teach myself programming from a book because she wouldn't set up a dial-up connection for a long time. When I was 14, I was reading about investing in the stock market and real estate, and my mother told me I was greedy for focusing on money. She also advised against studying what I truly wanted at university. Recently, she met my new girlfriend for the first time and brought up at dinner that my credit card was overdue. I knew I had just been offline for over a month without service. I appreciated the way she tried to bring me down a notch. I know I'm doing well on paper. I am in my mid-30s with a good career, earning over $200,000 annually. I have a successful business and made millions by my early 30s from nothing, without help. I have enough money to take a couple of years off to relax and travel, and I still have more in investments than when I started. I have good friends and a girlfriend I love. I've traveled a lot and lived in around 8 countries, and I consider myself kind, generous, and empathetic. Intellectually, I know I'm doing great, but I never truly feel it. I can cheer for a friend's accomplishments, yet I never feel that way about myself. I continue to succeed but often feel a sense of emptiness about it all. Story 59. Childhood trauma, health concerns, home difficulties, social media influence. Take your pick. Everyone feels inadequate at times. Those with challenges may feel inadequate more often. Story 60. Online dating can definitely hurt a man's self-esteem. I am older than most users and I never had problems meeting women. After my divorce last year, I tried online dating. I am average looking, I keep in good shape, have a large house, a great career, and a nice car. I received very few matches, and those matches were usually extremely obese, unemployed, without a car, and living in a trailer with their family. It made me give up and accept being single. I eventually met a woman in real life, but for many young men, that can be very difficult. Story 61. If he plays video games excessively, he might feel that 10 years have gone by, and he has nothing to show for it. Story 62. A multitude of factors influences men, including societal expectations, toxic masculinity, childhood experiences, and relationships. While each person's experience is unique, I believe these 4 are the primary roots of the issue. Story 63. Many people here appear to want to turn an individual's feelings into a larger narrative about men's struggles, but that is pure speculation. It could be as simple as he was bullied in school, his parents had a difficult divorce, he struggled with acne as a child, or it could be some random combination of minor factors. Story 64. I am autistic, and no one has ever loved me properly. I had an absent mother. What else? I have been quite successful otherwise. The interpersonal relationships are usually the issue. I have had people think the same about me until they got closer. Story 65. I was the awkward younger brother of a popular athlete. I wore glasses and was not athletic. My parents largely ignored me because I was completely average. I was nervous around women, did not date much, and struggled to approach them. By the end of high school, I took up martial arts and started growing into my body. I was 6 feet 2 inches tall and beginning to learn how to control it. After high school, I joined the military. Although I was not an athlete, I had a physique that adapted well to sports. The military transformed me into a runner as well. By the end of my 4 years of service, I had a fit and coordinated body. However, I still felt like the uncoordinated, geeky kid on the inside. I switched to contact lenses and began receiving attention from women, but I remained nervous and often sabotaged any interaction. Story 66. Beautiful women who have successful careers can also experience low self-esteem. Sometimes, when you perform well, you may find yourself spending more time with other stunning, accomplished, and competitive individuals, making the group you compare yourself to increasingly unrealistic. The standards are always shifting, leaving you feeling as though you will never be good enough. Additionally, when people focus on you, you tend to scrutinize yourself more, making it easier to concentrate on your perceived flaws and to dwell on them, which can lead to depression. Furthermore, there is a significant amount of anti-male sentiment from certain feminist perspectives. While some of this frustration is a valid reaction to the mistreatment of women, the message should focus on holding bad individuals accountable. However, many people overlook this qualifier, creating sweeping generalizations about men or masculinity. As a result, innocent men may feel unjustly criticized, which can be challenging for any sensitive individual. Those with the most confidence often lack self-awareness, possess thick skin, and remain indifferent to others' opinions, which helps them maintain their composure. Story 67. One of the things that have really damaged my self-esteem is the way some women have treated me. Some women seem to believe they can define how a man is supposed to act. I encounter this often, and I feel that if I don't act according to their expectations, I'm perceived as lacking in morals. I get the impression that some women feel they possess exclusive moral authority. A man is expected to do certain things for a woman. A man should never do certain things to a woman. A man is expected to fulfill specific roles for a woman without expecting anything in return. It's a complicated and losing situation. The most challenging aspect is that some women do exercise a certain level of control over us due to our levels of sexual desire being disproportionately high. Being lectured by women about how I should behave as a man has significantly impacted my self-esteem. Story 68. Bullying and other forms of abuse. Often, bullying is caused by jealousy. It makes sense that a guy who is conventionally attractive and desired by women might have been bullied by other guys who were jealous. Additionally, when girls or young women like a guy, they may act antagonistically toward him, leading him to feel as though he was hated by everyone. Story 69. Abandonment and childhood post-traumatic stress disorder can have lasting effects. I struggle with feeling unwanted in almost any situation and never know how I'm perceived unless it's a very new situation where I am being incorporated into a group. Meaningful progress can be made individually by proving to myself that I am capable of doing things on my own. However, I've realized that it might be unhealthy to further segregate myself by continuing in hobbies that are socially isolating. If you care to help this individual in their environment, I suggest socializing one-on-one, as a group might be too overstimulating. You can make small gestures to build their confidence by pointing out things you genuinely admire about them. Story 70. Being overweight and inactive with bad genetics does not define you. Just because your ancestors struggled with weight does not mean you have to. Get up and make a change. Be the change. Work hard on yourself and enjoy the confidence that comes with being a capable person. Story 71. For me, it was my mother. She continually destroyed any semblance of personal pride, confidence, or esteem whenever it appeared during my childhood. One example occurred when I was 11 or 12 years old. I had just finished connecting two video game consoles to a television using an adapter with a switch for audiovisual ports and was very proud of it. The whole setup was in a small cabinet on wheels, only for my mother to say to me, "You are nothing but a useless person." This is just one anecdote among many. She nearly succeeded in permanently undermining my self-awareness and sense of agency. I am now 36. She is deceased, and it's only in the last couple of years that some of that agency has become apparent. However, I still consider myself almost completely worthless, disposable to society, and unworthy of romantic or sexual desire, despite having an objectively capable body, a decent income, and some career success, along with active hobbies and interests and a curious mind. So, the brief answer to the question regarding some causes of self-esteem issues in men is some women. Story 72. In the past, I experienced total breakdown and criticism from people in my circle. Now my circle is smaller, and I have rebuilt myself to be stronger, more aware, and less concerned about such individuals. Story 73. The agenda of toxic masculinity and the encouragement of female entitlement only seem to benefit a select few. Story 74. I have low self-esteem, though at 19 years old I am barely a man. I think I can look attractive on some days, but I have never received any attention for it, as far as I am aware, nor for anything else, really. It's a personal and long story that cannot be generally applied to men, but it is the story of a man with low self-esteem, so I will tell it. When I was around 12, I had problems with anger and aggression. I was not an outsider, though. My friends from elementary school were loyal and supportive. My friends and I saw me as a victim of my mood swings. In the next couple of years, I intensely worked on self-awareness and self-control on my own, without any professional help. This led to my prototype working model of myself that basically suppressed any emotion except strong happiness or strong sadness. I banned anger from my life. I was a functioning individual without anger issues, which was good, but my emotional numbness made socializing extremely difficult. Soon, I was respected by pretty much everyone in my year, but I felt like I was everyone's third best friend. Being a triplet and the most passive one of us didn't make it easier, as I ended up taking over friendships my brothers made once they grew apart a bit. So, I never really learned how to make friends. At around 16, I noticed that this could not continue. Soon after, the pandemic struck. I found a group of friends among those who would spend the entire digital school day and the time after that in a voice chat on Discord. They are still my closest friends, but they didn't make it necessary for me to learn how to socialize. A few things happened that would make this retelling longer than it already is, but now I am starting my working life and getting to know new people. I am still not a people person, but I know that some find my calm and dry, yet caring nature charming. Multiple friends have told me that there is no reason for my low self-esteem and that I am not socially inept, but that is not something I can simply turn off in my head. Years ago, I decided to live in service of others, so I tried to embrace my low self-esteem at times to justify this goal. It may sound weird, but I now see it as part of my personality, and if I get rid of it, I could see myself falling into a crisis of self. Anyways, that's my story. I would appreciate a reply if you read it all. I'm interested in how many people do that. Story 75. That person sounds like a great individual, and you sound like a wonderful young woman. He likes you a lot, and I believe the feeling is mutual. I hope everything works out for him, and that we see romance blossom between you both. Best of luck. Story 76. Self-obsession. The key to happiness in life is to understand that there is no self. None of these terms, self-care, self-worth, or self-esteem, truly mean anything. They are marketing tactics used to make us feel inadequate so we will purchase more items. Ignore them all and focus on being happy in the present moment. Story 77. Being raised in a strict Christian family can have a significant impact. The first lesson taught is that you are guilty of original sin. Story 78. Many men lack a value system to guide their actions, leading to inaction and low self-esteem. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.